Hey everyone, Travis here on week 10, day 1 of the NALCS Meteos. The split is almost done. The season's almost done. Are you excited?
I am excited, but not as excited as I am to interview with you 2 weeks in a row.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's the gift that Elimination gave us, you know. So he was feeling a little antisocial today, and many days. Anyway, let's hop into this. We are going to talk about that last game, which you talked about a little bit on broadcast, but for people who watch us, you know, like the day after or anything like that, what are like the cliff notes of that game?
All right, so cliff notes of that game. We had somewhat of a weaker early game than that. Well, not necessarily. Our team goals were pretty even. So this is how the game went. Our bottom lane was winning with Tristana, but we couldn't do much off of it because Tristana just always pushes the lane, so it was never really gankable or diveable. And then Gragas beats Mundo. He pushes them in. They were able to get a first blood tower off that, so that was good by them. So they got that advantage, and then they got the first dragon because we just really messed up there and gave it to him for free because I was like literally there and I recalled and they just took it. So we messed up there. So we got pretty behind early, which is like the staple of what happens when we play Dignitas. They're just extremely good at early game. So we're pretty behind. We get the next dragon for free because we just positioned well for it. And then the next dragon was a disaster because we started dragon right when it spawned, but apparently there's this glitch where if you hit dragon and the second it spawns, but before it becomes visible, it remains invisible. So I shot an exploding spider at it, it hit, and dragon just didn't appear, but the spider exploded. I was like, wait, what the hell? So we paused the game, we all had to reconnect to see the dragon, and by then we were like really confused with what was going on, and we played the fight terribly and got dumped on, so we lost 3 kills there and dragon. And so we were pretty behind at this point. They start pushing in our base, and I managed to land a cocoon on Crumbs when he was trying to clear a ward, and then we followed it up with like Tristana autos and Oriole, and we got a catch there, and that sort of just broke their pressure. We were able to get out of our base, get some wards up, start scaling, just get a lot of farm, and eventually once you have Mundo, Tristana, Oriole late game, that's a pretty solid comp. Plus Bromelies who scale phenomenally with utility, and we were just able to win. We got a Baron because I think we out-rotated him a little bit. A few more catches on Rangar, and just managed to keep good vision control. So that was basically the gist of the game for anyone who didn't see it. And obviously we could have played it better. They played pretty well too, but managed to come out on top. Sneaky did really well.
So you don't think that Invisible Dragons should be like a good feature in the League of Legends Summoner's Rift?
Yeah, that's really the first time I've seen it. I've seen like invisible blue buff sometime in scrims and stuff, but never invisible dragon. That really confused me.
I'm hopeful we can see an Invisible Baron at some point in time, which would be really exciting. It's like the hard mode. New feature. Actually, you know how they have all the game modes? They should just do a feature where it's like Invisible Jungle game mode, and so you just have to fight the entire thing with it all being invisible.
I would play Zach for that because he doesn't even need auto attack. He wouldn't be too bad. Zach's clear speed is so good now, but he's just so bad.
Why is he bad?
Well, I used to really like him back when his passive didn't shoot his blobs a mile away from his body. Yeah. So that's kind of annoying. You can never pick him up. And aside from that, he just doesn't really fit the meta right now. He's too weak early.
What do you think of Jarvan?
Jarvan, I think he is almost a good champion. He's solid early game. His level 3 is really good. He can get around wards, so he makes a good jungler. His clear speed's all right, but his scaling is pretty much a huge issue. Past level 6 is really downhill for him because his E is like this magic damage ability that scales with AP, which you don't even hit him with most of the time. So his E is basically a useless ability. His W doesn't really scale with anything, and his Q and his ult are really his only damaging abilities, and you have to like use your combo just to get in range to ult people. So he's very awkward in team fights, and he doesn't scale well. So I'm not a huge fan of him, but if you really need that early pressure and there's no better options, then he's all right.
Do you anticipate seeing many more champions enter the jungle scene for Worlds, like as we get close to like that patch lock?
More champions. I don't really know. For the most part, I guess Riot's idea is they're trying to nerf everything, which I don't know if we touched on this last week, but basically they're trying to nerf all the good junglers to open up more junglers. But I feel like the other junglers are just too bad that even if Lee Sin and Elise were extremely bad, they would still be picked over them just because. Utilities. Yeah, like. I guess Maokai's been getting a little bit of traction over in EU, but I still don't think he's very strong because his gap closer is really short range. He's not a strong duelist. His clear speed's not incredibly good. I guess he's good late game if you can somehow get there, but his early game's quite weak.
What about that Nunu?
Nunu's okay. He's not bad. He's very good at taking map control, which is super important for junglers, but he's just not that strong at fighting. So for early game pressure, all you can really do is just keep track of their jungler and kind of walk up and snowball people sometimes, but that's usually not a very effective gank.
Any thoughts on whether or not we're going to see ties next week? Because, like, this is where, since we've become EU, one of the problems that EU has faced frequently is this, like, oh no, last-minute ties on week 11. Any concerns that we're going to see a bunch of ties at the end of that?
I'd say it's kind of likely because every team's been, going 1-1 every week, 2-2 every week. So I think it will be likely we'll see some ties, and tiebreaks will be pretty intense.
You think we'll be sitting here at like 10 o'clock at night a week from tomorrow?
10 o'clock at night. Oh,
because
wow,
it goes so late.
Yeah, I forgot about that, actually. I guess that is kind of a problem. Yes. Those late night matches are so bad because you're just sitting there all day, like, bored out of your mind. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily bored, but you're, like, anxious for your match. It happened during our first split of LCS where they would have 8-game days for Super Week. And we'd play, like, I think there literally was a time we played first game and last game. So the entire time in between, we're just sitting there like, man, this is boring. I'm really hungry. I'm really tired. Like, all of the natural elements of a gamer started kicking in, and then, that happened. So hopefully we don't really run to that. I would like to avoid tiebreakers. If we could get that sole first place, that'd be nice. But kind of have to have LMQ lose a lot and have to have us win a lot. So that's not looking too likely, but it's the dream. As long as we get into playoffs, which I think we're looking pretty good for that so far. Yeah. I'd be kind of surprised if we came in 7th or 8th at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance of that even. Like, I'm not even sure if it's mathematically possible.
Okay, well, that's good for us then, if it's not mathematically possible. So, yeah, I guess that's it. We'll play our best, obviously, keep trying to win games. I think this is the first time we've got, like, more than a 2-game win streak in LCS, maybe. So we're at 3 games at this point. I guess I heard the announcer say we won 5 out of our last 6, so that's really good for us. Just got to remember to keep playing well. We have this thing where when we start winning, we start playing worse. So we got to try to avoid that. And
so just lose some more.
Yeah.
And you'll play better.
I think what we should do is lose the rest of our games before playoffs, take a nosedive, come in at like 6th place, but we'll be so motivated we'll just get number 1 during playoffs.
Well, you know how Complexity is supposed to be like the blue turtle shell or whatever. If my theory is that they play better the better the opponent that they have, like, and it's an exponential thing. So I feel like we should send Complexity to Worlds, and then they can make it all the way to the finals and just completely stomp their opponent, because apparently they're always better than, it's like a growth chart thing.
You're right. That actually that worked pretty well. I could see them taking out Samsung, white or blue, or both maybe.
Super easy. And sort of the same way that we saw finals last year, except for Complexity is there at the end holding up the trophy. That's the plan. North America, make it happen. Other than that, we did talk about stuff last week, and things are coming to a conclusion. Any thoughts on the change in the LCS playoff format? Like best of 5s and shit?
Is that happening?
Yeah. Well, for playoffs or what?
I don't really know what they are, so what are they?
So instead of playoffs being one weekend, you know how like last year that all happened at PAX? Okay, and then they're changing it so that there's not like best of 3s and stuff. I think the whole thing is all best of 5s.
Really, all best of 5s? That's cool, I guess. I don't know. Usually the best team wins, regardless of how many games it is. It's easy for people to make excuses like, "Oh man, if it was just best of 5, we would have won that." Because people were saying that about us versus Fnatic at Worlds because it was a best of 3 and they won it. But then the next time we met them, we took 2 games off of them. So overall, we were 3-2 with them. So in theory, we would have won a best of 5, but I honestly don't think that's really how it works. I'm pretty sure that the better team will usually win. But, longer series are always better because it provides better quality games. The more games I feel, the better team will come out on top. So hopefully that'll, get rid of most of those things. I imagine a lot of series will be, 3-0 or 3-1. And then if there is a 3-2, it'll obviously be super intense. So it's like a win-win either way.
You have any shout-outs, plugs, anything you want to say to all those Cloud9 fans out there?
Oh, as normal, thanks for all the continued support. We've been trying to stream more for you guys because you like watching us, and that's about it. Stick with us while we go into playoffs, and hopefully we do well and make it to Worlds.
Thank you so much for the interview, Meteos. You can check out the rest of our coverage of all things esports at allgamers.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.